We now know, as per CRISIL's latest report, that veg thalis and non-veg thalis have gotten more expensive. In fact, if you are a vegetarian, you are now paying 10% more to buy the same thali as you were buying about a year ago. So inflation basically in the prices of onions and tomatoes have actually hit people hard. They are paying more for their thali.
So thankfully, I'm not a pure vegetarian and I do consume non-veg. So I think
still
for me,
paying
it would get balanced
5 to
between maybe 7.5% or so if I eat my veg and non-veg
Right.
equally. But yeah, I think, you've also got to look at it in the basic context of inflation. So food inflation, we know, Shweta, has been high, and in fact, that is something that has been troubling the RBI and has been troubling, citizens alike. And we haven't really been able to. July, we saw food inflation really peak, close to the 18-19% levels, and this is when we saw tomato prices, hit the ceiling. But then we've seen some sort of a correction, but despite that, food prices continue to hover in the range of about 12% or so. So obviously, food inflation is going to translate down, trickle back to your humble thali. Having said that, we have also seen erratic rainfall this year, and the Kharif crop season has been a bit of a washout, if not totally. At least it was fairly responsible in keeping inflation elevated. In addition to that, you've seen tomato prices, even in the month of November, elevated, by about 35% or so. Onion, on the other hand, is up almost 60%, 58% or so is the onion prices hike. So overall, inflation has been a worry, and in fact, latest reports also suggest, and we will hopefully have the data with us, in coming days, but reports are also suggesting that CPI inflation is also likely to be fairly elevated in the month of November. So no surprise there. I think the direct sort of brunt of inflation is on the humble thali, and people are shelling out more than they would like to consume the basics which start and pretty much end with food.
All right, I'm looking at tomato prices right now. In Delhi NCR, half a kg tomato costing 33 rupees, which is 1 kg for 66 rupee. Onion costing around 65 rupees for 1 kg, both in the realm of 60 to 70 rupees a kg, which is very high compared to the start of the year when both of them were around 30 to 35 rupees a kg. Essentially, vegetable prices have gone up. So when we look at inflation numbers and when we say year on year, days on days, that inflation is cyclical. It will come, it will go, it may hurt, it may not hurt the common man. It is hurting the common man. The reality is, no matter how much we celebrate that inflation is within the RBI's range, it is hurting the common person.
And it's very likely that inflation for the month of November may actually, and especially the CPI inflation, may actually be a couple of notches outside of RBI's comfort zone, which is 6% on the outside. So those are also reports coming. No doubt, I mean, inflation is a problem. Inflation hits everybody equally, and some ministers take offense on public platforms when there are similar questions. We'll not get into that today, but I think it is something.
Do you eat onion?
Who doesn't? I mean, unless you are a tamsik or the other
Right.
the opposite of being a tamsik, and unless you are a vegan, I think you do end up consuming most of the prices which are inflated.
Absolutely. I dare ask you whether you eat onion. Hopefully you'll not take offense to it, unlike some of our ministers. But the sad reality there, that veg thalis and non-veg thalis, prices have gone up. If you're a vegetarian, you're shelling more, 10% more than what you would about a year ago. If you're a non-vegetarian, you're paying about 5% more.